bananas. Not necessarily, to the level that we saw for Beryl, but Beryl winds were way above that. And so we experienced between 80 and 100% on all the farms assessed thus far. And then that is our commercial farmers. And so the damage has been significant, and that is damage to crops. Not necessarily, when we are
Ms. Coney, I lost your audio there. I was hearing you fine. Should we take a break and see if we can resolve the connection issues? Let's do that. Let's take the break and come right back. Speaking with the Agriculture Minister, Floyd Green, and Janet Coney, she's the General Manager of Jamaica's Banana Industry Board, talking about the damage to agriculture caused by Beryl. More after these.
Hello, I'm Christopher, Minister of Health and Wellness. I want to take you through a journey to explore the negative impact of lifestyle-related diseases on you and on the population of Jamaica. So, let us go on this journey as we seek to explore together and hopefully to encourage you to take the necessary action to protect yourself and to enjoy long life and quality of life.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dying Young, this Thursday at 8:30 p.m.
Sir Brandon, what are you doing, sir?
How are you?
I came up here looking for the Olympian and business owner, but the sweeper this morning.
Many people don't know that I grew up in Alaska.
But, like foreign Alaska, like over the snow pit Alaska.
Santa Claus.
Yes, Brandon, we're in your corner office. We're in your where? Corner office. But cheers also to me, man, you will end a juice business. That's right. Just in case.
That's right.
So I'm going to see what I'm going to do now. Father God. Murder!
On our roads, remember, take time, be courteous, drive good, walk good. Don't drink alcohol and drive. Don't drive tired or sleepy. Don't tailgate and don't overtake unless it is safe to do so. And always drive at a speed which will allow you time to stop quickly and safely. Let's keep it safe on our roads.
I am the only dog.
But I'm going to fix our business fair,
More comfortable.
More comfortable for what, Pastor?
Jamaica's favorite drama, Your Guilty Pleasure. Royal Palm Estate is on CVM every Tuesday and Sunday at 9 p.m.
All right, guys, the news is in. You are loving MTM on CVM.
And for those who don't know, we are the Mitchells. I'm Wayne.
And I'm Tammy.
And you can come along with us on our journey every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Right here, you can see it happening on CVM TV.
Yeah, MTM man, CVM man.
See it happen, man. CVM man, MTM man, CVM man. See it happen, man. CVM man.
You're the sugar to my tea. Meet the Mitchell family. John Mark.
Celine, why God? We can't say we're a friend now. Celine. We have to take on the road.
Yeah, man, we have to take on the same way. All right, Lord, thank you so much for this day.
Me, I do the work. Yeah. And the people them accept it. Clarendon, Mandeville. But now we get to go into the inner city of Kingston.
I can't wait to learn more as we go across Jamaica into different churches to understand what they do.
No more fear of missing out. CVM TV News is on YouTube. Get up-to-date news, sports, and business content at CVM TV News anytime, anywhere. Subscribe now to CVM TV News to see it happen.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winford Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back to Lead Story. We are looking at the impact on the agriculture sector of Hurricane Beryl, which of course hit the island last Wednesday. It's the southern part of three parishes, Clarendon, Manchester and St. Elizabeth. Extensive damage, and out east as well, Portland and St. Thomas, parts of St. Mary also suffered the brunt of Beryl's very, very strong winds. And so we're looking at the damage that has been left in Beryl's wake and how much it is likely going to cost to get farmers back up on their feet. I'm speaking with the Agriculture Minister, Floyd Green, and the General Manager of the Banana Industry Board, Janet Coney. Just checking your audio again, Minister. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yeah, man, I'm fine. All right. And hopefully you're hearing me loud and clear.
Yes, you're stable.
And just to indicate that we have picked up damage across multiple parishes. So the parishes that you mentioned was also St. Anne, parts of St. Anne. We did see significant impact on our vegetable lines, places like Cave Valley, places like Retreat, and also our yam farmers in parts of South Trelawney and northern Manchester. We also saw some dislocation and some crop loss in those areas. So clearly the most significant impact was on our southern coast, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, but we are picking up St. Mary, St. Thomas, Portland, parts of St. Anne, parts of Trelawney, parts of Manchester.
Thank you for setting that. Thank you for setting that up, because just to say that the parishes I mentioned were the worst hit, hardest hit. Yes. But yes, the damage has been island-wide. I just wanted to finish up with Ms. Coney and get back to you, Minister. Ms. Coney, you were telling me. Well, I understand that she's not on. Let's welcome the President of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, Lenworth Fulton, to the discussion. Lenworth, good afternoon, good evening, rather. Are you hearing me? All right, I'm not hearing him. This is not, I hope you are not frustrated at home, viewers, because telecoms is a challenge in these times. Some places not having power back just yet, and because the power is not back, the cell sites aren't working at their most efficient, and that causes gremlins to insert themselves into processes like these and make communication difficult. But we can speak, myself and the Minister can carry a conversation for a very long time. So, Minister, here's the thing. In terms of livestock farmers, I haven't heard a lot about those people in the last few days. Give us an idea of the damage suffered by those who farm livestock.
Yeah, so our livestock farmers did take a significant blow, especially our poultry farmers, and a lot of our small poultry farmers suffered extensive loss. And the loss is twofold. They suffered losses on their chickens, but a lot of them saw their infrastructure, their chicken coops, being completely destroyed. In fact, I visited one farmer over the weekend who had his poultry house collapse and would have lost 1,500 layer birds. And that poultry house infrastructure is about $5 million. Right, so I mean,
you're talking, Minister. You're talking the fancy ones that look like wind tunnels.
Yeah, almost. So he had his own design, so that he built, but it had all the fancy infrastructure. So it had the automated watering system, feeding system, ventilation, and clearly it was built for intensive poultry farming in terms of eggs, layers. So, and he is a big farmer, so he would have lost 1,500, in one go. But there are a number of stories of people losing 50, 60. And, our small poultry farmers account for about 40% of our poultry sector. So they have suffered tremendous. We also got reports from our small ruminant farmers in relation to losses and animals, especially goats, dying. So our livestock farmers did take a significant blow, George.
It's heartbreaking to hear. So we're not at this stage we're talking about shortages just yet. That part of the conversation will come. So poultry, livestock, hard hit. Those with produce in the ground, hard hit. Let me ask you, on the southern part of the island, is there anything in the fields that stood up to the onslaught of Beryl, or is everything gone?
So I'll tell you, we had almost a double whammy. So clearly, Beryl didn't come with as much rain as other storms, right? You mentioned like Dean. What Beryl came with was a lot of wind, and as such, a lot of infrastructure damage, a lot of damage to banana, plantains, coconuts, all our fruit trees. I mean, it uprooted fruit trees right across the length and breadth of Jamaica. So our ackee trees, our breadfruit trees, we have seen significant losses in those areas. But then, unfortunately, after Beryl, we had that tropical depression, which came with a lot of rain. So we almost got a double whammy. So those crops that are in the field, those vine-related crops, your melons, your cantaloupes, again, even if you wanted to try and salvage, you may have had some difficulty because of the excess rain that came the day after. I have seen some farmers going out trying to salvage, but it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a real challenge. So our fruit lines are also going to be dramatically impacted by Hurricane Beryl.
Yeah, hold the line right there, Minister. I'm going to have to take a time signal and come right back to complete this discussion. We're talking agriculture with the Minister. A lot on his shoulders, not just the agriculture sector that's reeling, but his own constituency, residents there, his constituents, feeling the pressure, counting the cost of Beryl. More after this.
The time by Grace. Taste that moves you is...
Look who we have in the cut. No, today episode I got nice. Legends, Senator, my longtime brethren, the great all-star, the king, and the man himself. Salute! You know, as man, we're not too go as specialists, and that's the pinnacle of the problem.
We want some new era.
Do what you love and you never work a day in your life. You lie.
You work till you weak.
It was pandemonium.
Country people can relate to me, I talk about. What you think about me no matter, you know. What matter to me is what me think about myself. Man United, you know. I don't care what man want to say.
You know, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, man. You finished?
Yes, we finished.
The Cut is brought to you by Flo and Guinness.
That is 2 acres of units. This is a cause of over 3.
Welcome back to Lead Story here on CVM TV. So we're talking with the Agriculture Minister, Floyd Green. So Minister, in terms of fisheries, we haven't touched that just yet. What's the picture there?
Yeah, so, you know, these weather events are always difficult on our fishers. One, clearly they can't go out, and each day they're unable to go, then that's a loss for them. So they would have lost there. Thankfully, we haven't seen a lot of damage to boats, but about 10% of our boats, based on our assessments, have been damaged. But what we are seeing a lot of, and what we're getting the reports of now, are fish pots. If you understand how a number of our fishers fish, they make what they call fish pots that they put out, and those catch the fish and they leave them and then go back and pick them up. What is happening now after Beryl is that they are going back out and the fish pots are nowhere to be found, having largely been destroyed by the hurricane. So that's a significant blow because it means that no fish pot, no fish. So that is a loss of income and a significant loss of income. We will have fishers who will lose 20 pots, and just to put one pot together, we're talking of thousands of dollars. So one of the things that we will have to do is provide some support for our fishers to be able to put back together some pots to get back out there. We're also seeing across our fishing beaches significant amount of debris. We saw some gear sheds where you would store your equipment being damaged. So our marine fishers will need some support. And in the program of support that I plan to outline sometime this week, we will have to have a special allocation for our marine fishers. So we're going to put together a program of support clearly for farmers and our fishers. And we understand that in this time,
again, the gremlins affecting us once again. Ms. Coney, are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
Yeah, the minister's line froze just there. All right, Ms. Coney, you were telling me before we got the disruption about the damage to banana and plantain, because I want people to understand what the situation is that will cause them to not have these food items in abundant supply as they are used to over the next weeks and months to come.
Okay, with average 90% damage, it means everything is down. In the next week or two, the farmers will try to sell everything that they can salvage from their farms. They will try as best they can. If there are fruits that they can wait a week or two to fill out, and they can, then they will have those. But over the next 9 months after that, it takes before you get total recovery. And that recovery is dependent upon the resuscitation program being put in place right now, and the things that are needed to restore the farms to their current level of productivity is in place. And that requires not just early chop back, and the farmers are already engaging in that, but it requires, application of fertilizers, application of pesticides to the soil, because when you have a hurricane, the pests flare in the soil. So you have nematodes and borers that need to be treated. And as the fruits, as the leaves come back on the trees, there's a disease, black sigatoka disease, which will infect the leaves as well. And those have to be treated. And that has to be done over the period of the 9 months, so that by the end of 9 months, we will have fruits again in the abundance of which we know it. The industry was on a great, rebound. It was increasing year on year, and that trajectory is impacted by this hurricane. And we really want, some of the investments that are being put in the recovery to be put back for some of the farmers in the banana industry who need to come back. We are the source of the cheapest starch, and we really want to ensure that is provided for both the farmers themselves, because they eat 30% of what they grow, and for the housewives and the food production sector.
And for the dinner table. Thank you very much for that. Minister, the gremlins have robbed us of valuable time, so I must ask you this though. Do you yet know if you'll get the resources that are needed to assist the farmers? And by assist the farmers, I don't want people to leave this conversation with the impression that every farmer who has lost 10 items, each farmer will get back all 10 in the same condition before Beryl. I want you to manage expectations, but give us an idea. Do the resources exist?
I think our farmers appreciate that we'll never be able to put them back into the position that they were at exactly when Beryl came. But I think what our farmers want to know is that we're willing to help them, especially to restart, and that is what we will be aiming to do. Oftentimes what they require some input, sometimes they require chemicals, some are still looking to salvage, things like fertilizer. So we will focus on some of those items to try and put them back in a position. Plus, we've always crafted programs around trying to help them to be more sustainable. We will have to have a program for greenhouse farmers. The government, we had already earmarked some resources for disaster, but the reality is that this disaster has come very early in the season. So we still have a hurricane season to go. This is at the start of the hurricane season. And based on the extent of this damage, we will have to get some supplemental support from the Ministry of Finance. But I'm very, very, I do believe we will get that support. Right? And our farmers know, and our fishers know, that we won't leave them alone at this time.
Excellent. Good point to end on, Minister. And perhaps you can also lean on the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, which has helped Jamaica in the past in the face of disaster. Thank you, Ms. Coney. Thank you, Minister. The gremlins robbed us of valuable time, but we still managed to get in enough for the viewers to understand the situation. Thank you.
Start saving for your golden years with a Sagicor Lifestyle Approved Retirement Scheme. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock.
Coming up in CVM News at 7, Cabinet satisfied with post-disaster response. Hurricane Beryl's agriculture damage runs into billions. And not to be blamed, experts say climate change is not the sole factor in Jamaica's plight.
Also in the news, Violet Nielsen remembered as a trailblazer. And in the business report, NCB raising millions to assist hurricane victims. And in sports, the search for new Reggae Boys head coach continues. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. I'm TK Dawkins.
And I'm Curlin Brown. It's Monday, July 8, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, preliminary figures are in regarding the damage sustained by the Agriculture Ministry amidst last week's torrential rains and gusty winds.
It's early days yet in the assessment phase, but the Portfolio Minister points to a battered sector that will require all hands on board. In the journey to recovery, CVM's Brittania Witter tells us more.
The agriculture sector was dealt a $1 billion blow during the passage of Hurricane Beryl. The vital sector now faces a daunting uphill battle as farmers struggle to recover. The Agriculture Minister, Floyd Green, says not only were farmlands across Jamaica devastatingly affected, but key aspects of the sector were also dealt a severe blow.
Unfortunately, significant damages to our greenhouse farmers. Our greenhouse farmers have probably been the most impacted by Hurricane Beryl. A number of them would have lost their structures completely, would have lost the coverings, and would have lost their crops. In fact, when we look across Clarendon, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth, we're seeing almost 90% of those greenhouse farmers facing some damage. And in St. Elizabeth, definitely of that 90%, it's almost a complete loss for all of them.
The ministry's facilities were not spared as the National Irrigation Commission's renewable energy site in St. Elizabeth was wrecked.
One of the challenges from Hurricane Beryl is that it has also damaged our infrastructure, and this is the Ministry of Agriculture, across various entities. So, National Irrigation Commission, we've been on a drive to put in renewable energy. This is our newest site for our renewable energy, and unfortunately we would have lost at least 20% of the solar panels that were installed, commissioned, and that were in use.
Minister Green says the nation will get a comprehensive review of the damage and the way forward on Tuesday when he addresses the Parliament. Brittania Witter, CVM News.
And we now take a closer look at the devastating impact of Hurricane Beryl on the island's agriculture sector. Ramon Gordon visited sections of St. Catherine on Monday to hear from local farmers what their losses could mean for consumers.
Farming communities across the island have reported billion-dollar losses following the passage of Hurricane Beryl recently. I'm in Bushy Park, St. Catherine, where Elsa's fury brought down this bridge, which connects two sections of the community. Now, it's just a glimpse into the sort of damage that has been done, and residents here say it will likely be a long road to recovery.
Sections of the island are still reeling from the effects of Hurricane Beryl, which battered south-central parishes and claimed lives. Authorities say recovery efforts are ongoing. However, the situation is especially dire for the agriculture sector. In sections of St. Catherine, the losses confirm reports from the Agriculture Minister, who says crop farmers face an especially grim reality.
It's total devastation here. Beryl have total devastated this farm.
That's Samuel King, a Heartlands farmer who's described losses in the millions. Watermelons are just one of the many crops he cultivates. He's also registered losses to his sweet pepper stock and other produce.
At least 2 acres of melon have been totally destroyed. This is a cost of over 3 million.
How long do you think recovery will take?
At least 2 months.
another farmer is counting similar losses.
We produce everything, cassava, pumpkin, lettuce, pop char, but everything get damaged. Everything gone. So we need some help here to bounce back.
How hopeful are you that you're going to make a full recovery? I would say -1 out of 100%.
Farmers here are still doing audits, making a list of everything Beryl ruined. For now, they're warning consumers to brace for price increases.
That is a sure thing. Massive increase.
Despite mounting losses, residents here have retained some hope.
I will bounce back, because I don't give up. I never give up hopes. Start back all over Peru again, and we pick up back.
Is that what you're going to be doing this time, starting over?
Yes, starting over. I'm asking the minister to give us some help.
There's evidence of extensive damage here, but as you've heard from the residents, they are resilient. While losses are still being calculated, one thing is abundantly clear. It's going to be a long road to recovery. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
Over the years, natural disasters have plagued various countries with emphasis on the Caribbean islands. One question being asked, is climate change the only factor in how countries handle these disasters? Trisha Kelly sought answers.
Climate change has been blamed for many natural disasters, and though some events can be attributed to it, experts believe the damage countries endure could be due to lack of preparation. Sections of Jamaica, for example, were severely damaged after being grazed by Beryl. Former director of the UWI Disaster Risk Reduction Center, Dr. Barbara Carby, says the signs had indicated that such a disaster was coming.
This was expected. That warning came out in May. All the forecasters warned for a very, very active season with a higher than normal number of major storms. So we just need to ensure that we are prepared. We can't relax now that Beryl has gone. We have to ensure that we are ready for the entire season up to December.
Regarding preparation for the remainder of the season, one professor believes the country is looking in the right direction, but not moving there. The country suffered damage to major infrastructure and buildings. UTech professor of urban planning and public policy, Professor Carol Archer, explains the country already has policies in place to determine where citizens can build. However, they are not implemented.
What we do need then is the enforcement. So we would have the policies in some regard. We do have the hillside policy, for example. We do have the development orders that indicate where and how you should build. And of course, we have the building code. And the Building Act. What we do need to is the enforcement of this.
But with Beryl now gone, the experts say the country cannot focus on the past and its mistakes. It should rather direct its attention to what can happen in the future. This, Dr. Carby says, is the way to move forward.
Not only do you rectify the weakness to what it was before, but you make the particular situation, whether it's infrastructure, housing, you make it stronger, better, so it can resist the next event, which may actually be a more intense event.
Hurricane Beryl serves as a timely reminder that the country has more work to do. Trisha Kelly, CVM News.
A mother in Trelawney is seeking assistance after Beryl destroyed her house. Now, as we go again to Trisha Kelly for the details of that incident, you'll see it was a close call for the mother and her children.
Everything is destroyed. Water run through everything.
Alethea Hilton is a mother of two, a 15-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter. With schools out for the summer holiday, both children are at home, or at least they should be, but there's nowhere to house them now. Alethea had made early preparations for the storm, removing all but a few trees in the yard that were laden with fruits. On the night of the hurricane, she called her children to her room, and in that moment, things literally fell apart.
As they came around, we felt the vibration, and I saw the water coming inside my room. And that's when I saw that the jelly tree fell through the house. And
what was it like at that moment?
I jumped over my daughter to protect her, and the solid text from the ceiling fell on my son's head.
Forced to flee her home with her young, Alethea found refuge in a neighbor's house. And after the storm, a good Samaritan in the community ran to her aid when he realized the mother was in despair. Gerald Cameron has been labeled a hero.
I realized that people flooding out, so I assist of going into the house, knock up people and take them out on my back and so forth. Families also, and bring them to the dry ground.
Though his efforts were appreciated, they could not restore the emptiness and heartbreak Alethea felt inside when she had no choice but to separate her children on Monday.
My kids are alive. That's how the peace of mind coming, because I could not deal with it if something had happened, more greater than this. To be homeless is one, but to lose somebody would have been more greater for me.
She's now seeking aid from all possible avenues. So far, her church, House of Grace Deliverance Ministry, has offered to render assistance. Pastor Kenton Grayson explains the plan was to start by fixing her roof. However, that may not be possible just yet.
Looking at the condition, we realize that it's impossible to put zinc in on this structure. So therefore, it brings us back to this place where we have to rethink on the approach of how we're going to be helping as a ministry. Because church is not just about behind the four walls. We have to get out and do ministry.
He's welcoming material donations from zinc to plyboard or just about anything that can help Alethea and her young family. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
Tourist hotspot in the West, Negril, has faced its fair share of inconvenience due to the passage of Hurricane Beryl, though not as devastated as other parts of the island. Chairman of Destination Assurance Council of Negril, Richard Wallace, highlighted the current concerns. Adrian Williams tells us more.
In the most westerly section of the island, tourists bask in making photo memories of their time here on the rock. However, Hurricane Beryl has created a less scenic environment in some sections of the city. Though the damage is not as many had expected, with Hurricane Beryl being a Category 4 system, Chairman for the Destination Assurance Council of Negril, Richard Wallace, says damage to the structures and downed trees are a hindrance on the roadway. But a bigger concern exists.
The main problem that we're having in Negril now is no electricity. And as a result, there's no water. And this has been going on for the last 3 days, from the afternoon of when Beryl was arriving. From then until now, there's been no electricity. And that's what we're being affected by mostly.
So what's the feeling of the sector?
Life is miserable without electricity. Yes, some of the major hotels and even smaller hotels like myself, we have standby generators, and they have been running 3 days continuously now. So, but that's what we're hoping, that we'll get back electricity as soon as possible.
With no electricity, the owner of the Boardwalk Village says fuel costs are quite taxing in operating the generators, but it is the price they have to pay, as guests are seeking hotels where there is light and water.
Yes, well, let's see how long it takes for electricity to return, because that will determine how bad the damage is to tourism. They have standby generators. Most of the small businesses are without electricity, and so some of them have opened and in darkness, but most of them cannot open. So let's see how long it takes for JPS to provide power, and I know that they're working hard to do that, so we don't need to give them a chance to see how quickly they can bring back supply.
For now, motorists and commuters are asked to exercise caution while traversing Negril. Adrian Williams, CVM News.
And with normality being restored day by day for Jamaicans who have been affected by Hurricane Beryl, in a media briefing on Monday, agencies reported an increase in restoration progress for cell phone coverage and electricity. Courtney Lewis has more details.
Things are looking up. That's the update from telecommunications and utility agencies as they seek to restore service to areas of the island after the passage of Hurricane Beryl. While speaking at a post-cabinet media briefing, Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport Daryl Vaz reported an uptick in restoration progress for telecommunications across the island.
As it relates to flow, they are up to 80% population coverage island-wide, and they have restored 47,000 fixed line customers. Digicel, they are currently, as of 10 o'clock this morning, July 8th, at 84.7 population coverage, 69% mobile network, which is 94.5% consumer and 92% business. So that also indicates that despite the impact, that they are operating at a high efficiency.
Vaz maintains the cabinet was satisfied with the response of utility provider JPS as they seek to restore electricity in coming weeks.
Over 120 crew supported by contractors and over 1,000 employees assisting with the recovery effort. Major hospitals are restored, others remaining expected in the next few days. From recollection, I think Linstead is still giving us quite a bit of issues for restoration. But it is expected that over the next few days, there will be a projected 97% restoration of the island expected by Saturday, July the 13th. There is a special team that has been put together, a task force, which is aiming to have those areas restored in full by August 5th at the latest, which puts us at just about 4 weeks.
Meanwhile, Communications Manager of the National Works Agency, Stephen Shaw, reported work is still underway to clear roadways in Hanover, Clarendon and St. Andrew.
Happily, we have been able to clear some 95% of those roads to either single lane or they have been fully reopened. We have a few that remain impassable, and we are working to have those treated with as quickly as is humanly possible.
Shaw maintained further checks will be done to ensure structural integrity and encourages individuals to exercise caution on roadways. Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
Among the lives lost due to Hurricane Beryl is that of Keon Sterling, a woman from Green Island in the parish of Hanover, who was struck down by a tree. To many, hers was another tragic story, but to the man who witnessed the incident and shared a family with her, it was so much more. Here's Nika Lewis.
Theirs was far from perfect, but days before the tragedy, he and his children's mother, 26-year-old Keon Sterling, would find the true meaning of love after the loss of a child for another man no longer in the picture. Last Wednesday, when Beryl bore down on Jamaica, lashing utility wires and breaking trees and poles in its path, the woman he calls Sterling spent her final moments with him, trying to clear her internet wire from downed trees.
So this is the internet wire when you say the tree. Limb inside the end of the tree limb depending. Some of it just go easy off. So when me catch us and me say chum and storm, they go come in, catch you the breeze blow hard first, and then it ease up, and then it blow hard again. So when it ease up now, in go there so. And she go right there. Me even go there too. And it end up that's me they said to her, I said, leave it no man. He said, no, to take up. So me say the whole thing you got tear down Sterling with more breeze kite just to come. When me stand up at that first tree I blow down, this one never blow down yet. My son they run at first, you know. And me make them go back around. He say, show me the problem what you talk about.
He attacked the matter out of concern for Sterling's safety, the irony of it all.
So by me go up on the house now, this a tree I begin to break. And by begin to break, she stand up beside that one over there. If she went stand up still, and no move, nothing no do her.
So which are the tree fell on her? Which one?
This one. Okay. But then cut off the power saw the sitting the man come here and then cut it off. This one. This is the one fell on her. This tree. And the power saw man them come shift it. Oh, right, so yeah. So when you hear the tree broke, she stand up beside that tree or blow down already. So if I not need to end up on the house stop, she could have go underneath the bottom of it or bend down same place. But she run. When she hear the crooking of the tree and run, and when he run and catch here, right? Here. When he catches her, she not go no further.
Screams were met with silence and then stillness.
Sterling, no move, no sound. So me they move all of these debris now to get to her head. To see what's going on, I move them. So when me see her head now, me see the blood, her nose. Me say, Jesus, I'm start ball, I'm grown and I actually help me say, nah, make no sound, he nah say, he nah ball, he nah do nothing. The whole of the tree mash him up, man. I will warn him, say, left you sitting, you know. But true, sometimes these girls and their phones, sometimes me don't know if they can't get the phone a break. Get the phone a break and the internet a break, a stormy time, everything go tear down. Now in dead left it 2 pitney them for me, and then the same tree come and tear down the line for the better now.
Campbell tells CVM News Sterling died the very day they were to attend their first child's high school graduation, postponed only because of the hurricane. Their other child, a son, is only 9. A single father now, he laments the love she had for her phone and a stubbornness that fueled her desire to clear the wires in a storm.
And now he left it, and it was a nice girl, I love her, but he not even know how much me love her. She not even know how much me never know how much she love me either. After when he lose the baby for the guy, I don't know where this guy come from, but he lose the baby at the house and he say, "Horse, God make everything happen for a wise purpose." That mean, me know she looking at life different now.
Sterling is one of several people who perished due to the disaster. Nika Lewis, CVM News.
This update, the National Works Agency, the NWA, says it has reopened some 94% of the roads reopened as being rendered impassable due to the passage of Hurricane Beryl. The NWA says to date it has received reports of 476 road sections. Manager Communication and Customer Services at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, says of that number, 39% have been fully reopened, while another 55% have been reopened to single-lane traffic. Mr. Shaw also says some 29 corridors remain impassable, with Hanover, Clarendon and St. Andrew accounting for the majority. At noon today, there were 6 corridors remaining impassable in each of those parishes. Do stay with us. We'll take a break, but we'll be back. Stay with us.
You made all the preparations, but you still suffered some serious damage from the hurricane. Recovering from any disaster will be hard, but there is help for people who need it the most. Look out for the Ministry of Labor and Social Security to visit your home and make damage assessments. Make sure you have a government-issued ID or a letter from a JP identifying you. The Ministry of Labor and Social Security in your parish, helping the people who are most in need. Plan, prepare, recover.
Sure we can. We never see a boy look pretty like you.
I'm starving. Can we get some juicy patties?
Celebrating over 40 years of everyday moments.